Hi guys, Simon Bean here, chilling in my car in the New Forest. VAT, Veterans Against Terrorism, founded by Dan McDevitt.
And when we went to talk to him, I saw you were there talking to him with the other lady. And when we went down to talk to him, they were like stuck for words.
They can't say nothing.
And it just basically goes to show the left, extreme left like they are, cause more headaches and spread more lies
And
than
hatred.
anything.
Over the last few weeks, I guess, but more so over the last couple of days, I've been going through Facebook gradually after my sort of 3 or 4 month sabbatical, and it's quite clear to me now that we're not getting as much support as we once were. There's 18,000 members, which is a huge amount of members. On the PTSD march a couple of weeks ago, only about 95 turned up from VAT. Of the Marius that was done by Tony Bugle outside the House of Lords, VAT members totalled 0. Now, why is this? I have spoke to a few individuals within VAT, and various people are taking little sabbaticals now, a week off here, week off there, a couple of months away, not sort of going dark if you like, not being too involved. From what they say, it's because when VAT was formed, it was all about veterans against terrorism, Islamic extremism in all its forms. We tend now to be going away from that more, and we're now getting embroiled in things like Soldier X and the Tommy Robinson saga that continues. We're getting involved in PTSD, which obviously affects veterans and serving soldiers alike. But our main aim, if you like, of terrorism seems to have sort of taken a back seat. So that's why a lot of people are rethinking their membership, if you want to call it that, their belonging to Veterans Against Terrorism, and why they're tending to perhaps pull back a little bit from it. Now, it's clearly time for us to refocus, because we as veterans perhaps shouldn't be getting involved in other people's issues. And I'll use the Tommy Robinson issue as an example. Tommy Robinson, obviously a public figure, he's got a past, his past is past, but that past still comes back to haunt him. And we as an organisation, although we should perhaps support him because a lot of what he says is relevant to what we are trying to achieve ourselves, but that shouldn't take precedence over our original agenda, if you like, because we're now rapidly turning into a group of 18,000 followers of Tommy Robinson. So some people have used the terms whipping boys. So we give, if you like, respectability to Tommy Robinson. Now, it's not only Tommy Robinson, it's other minor groups as well that are doing stuff out there on the streets of the UK. My true belief is that as veterans we should be taking the lead, and that we should cross-fertilise with these other groups, but we should always maintain that lead position, and we shouldn't fall into the auspices of just becoming a group of followers, especially when the security services who take an interest and the mainstream media who take an interest in us are now starting to tar us with the far right brush. Now, it was inevitable that this was going to happen, and I suppose we're all guilty of sort of strolling about with blinkers on, and we all get lost in the moment, and that's fine. That's what human beings do. But we really need to refocus our effort and come back into the fray and re-pick up, if you like, the baton and carry on with our original agenda. But perhaps not use that agenda to target Islam, because Islam in itself is quite divided up. You get radical parts of Islam, you get peaceful parts of Islam. So we don't want to turn all the people that follow Islam against us. We need to bring them on side. So we've got to refocus on that extremist side, which is perhaps looking more into Sharia law and making sure that Sharia law is outlawed from this nation of ours. Because if we take Sharia law out the equation, extremist Islam starts to implode. It falls within itself and they lose power. So that's my first thought. My second thought is that groups that we were quite tight in with before, like Marius, and reporters that gave us a huge voice, like Red Pill Phil, have sort of faded into the background. We don't seem to have the cross-fertilisation between us and Marius and us and Red Pill Phil that we once did. We've almost shelved them. At least that's how it feels to me when I look back through videos and I look back through comment and I look at the amount of conversation that used to go on between us all before that has just suddenly stopped. Now, on that PTSD march of Norman's a couple of weeks ago, only 95 veterans against terrorism personnel actually turned up. Now, considering there's 18,000 of us, I think that's quite appalling. I wasn't there, I was out of country at the time, but we really need to make an effort and support PTSD because it's a massive issue, not only for us veterans but also for the serving soldiers who are going to become veterans and hopefully will join in with us. But Marius also, they had a bit of a protest. There was Muslims present, there was non-Muslims present, there were atheists present, there was Christians present, there was lords and ladies present and baronesses present, but not one single veteran.
What do you think about the diversity of this march? What, you know, in terms of the speakers?
Well, I don't really think you can get much more diverse, can you? We've got Muslim ladies, we've got baronesses, we've got all sorts going on really. I mean, you just look at the crowd here now. We've got Assyrians, we've got blacks, we've got everyone really. And for them to say that it's racist it's a lazy argument.
Yes.
It really is just the most lazy argument. If you can't refute somebody's allegation, you just shout racist at them now, and it's boring and it's juvenile, to be honest. It just shows your lack of intelligence that you can't refute somebody's allegation. You just shout a name at them and you think that you've won an argument. You haven't.
There's 15 buzzwords in case you
I
ever
know.
need them.
Xenophobe,
Anything
racist.
after that, hit them. Because that's what they're like,
That's
isn't
what it
it?
is.
Have you got any debate?
And I'm quite saddened by that because Tony Bugle, who has been a massive supporter of ours right from day one, over 12 months ago, we seem to have shunned her somewhere along the line, and I just can't understand why or how that's happened. So we really need to get her back on side, because at the end of the day, although we've got an allegiance with UKIP, our allegiance with UKIP wouldn't be as strong as it is today without Tony Bugle's assistance, because she was the one that got us into the House of Lords. She was the one that introduced us to Lord Pearson. So without her, we wouldn't have this strong allegiance with UKIP. And I think we're in a position where we're becoming very, very short-sighted now, and we're forgetting the people that assisted us in the early days. So we really need to try and get that back if we can. Red Pill Phil, he quite rightly has pulled away from the marches at the moment, and the reason why he's done that is because he doesn't want to be part of an organisation that is seen to be moving further and further towards the right. He has great respect for us, he loves us, he always gives us fantastic coverage, and I for one am proud of that coverage that gets passed on by him, because he's got many followers now. Many followers. He's got more followers than we have members within VAT. So that tells you something. Now, people are starting to say, well, he's blue pill Phil and all this, because they're saying he hasn't got the balls to report. Well, I know, and you know, that he has got the balls to report on anything, and he says it as it is. But what he doesn't want to do is report on something that is perhaps seen as being a little bit too radical from us. I.e., he doesn't want to see us involved in violent confrontations, etc. He wants us to lead from the front.
Hey, how can you call these far right? So disingenuous, disrespectful to the highest degree.
And for the other groups, if you like, to have an allegiance with us, as opposed to us perhaps becoming the donkey's tail, and we're just an attachment that gives these other groups some form of respectability. And perhaps then our marches, when we have them, will grow in size, grow in followers, which I think is massively important, because we had it so right for so long, but suddenly it's, since about Birmingham time, I would say, taken a bit of a dive. So let me know what you think. If you think I'm talking bollocks, then fair enough, because I've been known to do that. Considering this group got all the other groups moving, we helped form some of the other group, and we really have made a difference. So if we did move into the background, it'd be pretty sad. So give us your thoughts, and we'll see if we can make Veterans Against Terrorism great again, so that we can then make Britain great again. Stay safe. Love you all loads. Take care.